Hi, I'm Kira. Welcome back to the channel. I've got another splits tutorial for you today. Well, my first splits tutorial was maybe more a bit beginner intermediate. I'd say this one is probably intermediate advanced in terms of the flexibility drills we're going to learn today. You will need some wall space in this tutorial. The wall is a great tool to help you go deeper in your front splits and improve your flexibility and mobility. You'll also probably need a set of yoga blocks, and a mat is always useful as well. This is best approached when you are already warm. The splits are no joke, they're a lot for the body. So make sure you're warm, breathe, and just remember that Rome wasn't built in a day, okay? The splits are here to humble us and teach us that, we progress slowly, and that's really where we make those long-term gains. Okay, let's get to it. We'll begin in a chair pose on the wall. So you'll come to stand against the wall, feet about 1 foot from it, lean your back against the wall, bend your knees at about a 90-degree angle. And I'm not gonna keep you here too long, a little less than a minute, but I wanna wake up the muscles of the legs and the outer hips because, contrary to popular belief, splits are active. Of course, we have to relax into our splits, but we need that beautiful balance between strength and flexibility to really make it sing. So, what are we feeling here? Probably a lot of activity in the quads. Can you think of squeezing your inner legs together while keeping your feet flat on the ground to activate your inner thighs, your adductors? Press your back against the wall, breathe. Inviting some heat, some activity into the legs and the hips. Can you contract your hamstrings here, really pressing the feet into the mat? One more breath. And release. Forward fold on the wall. So bring your tush to the wall. Bend your knees softly and just fold over the legs. You can shake your head a little side to side, just letting that go. And then slowly roll up to stand, and do take your time, right? Whenever we're bringing the head back above the heart, we want to give our body time to transition. So another forward fold on the wall variation I'm very fond of, looks a little weird, but it's amazing, is using the wall to self-assist you into a deeper forward fold. So it looks like this. You'll come as close to the wall as you can and come into a forward fold. And then you'll walk toward the wall, using the wall to press your upper body toward your lower body, okay? Maybe soft bend in the knees to begin and grabbing the backs of the legs. Feel your sitting bones tilting upward, backs of the legs or hamstrings lengthening. And finding that sweet spot between your deepest stretch and your entry point, right? You want to always enter your shape at a level of sensation you can be with for a bit, that you can breathe right alongside. And as you stay a while, perhaps you edge toward deeper sensation. Let's take one more breath. And then super slowly we exit. Bring your fingertips to the mat and slowly press yourself away from the wall. Walk your feet back. And take a slow roll up to stand. Now you've been in that forward fold for a while. So take your time. Right? The body trusts you. The more you move slow and mindfully. Okay, standing split on the wall. This is one of my favorite flexibility drills for the hip flexors. It's been really pivotal for me in improving my front splits. You might want to use blocks if standing split is quite a challenging shape for you. So it doesn't really matter which leg you start with. I'm going to start with my right leg on the wall. So you'll have to play around with how far away you stand from the wall, but you'll bring the ball of your foot to the wall behind you with tucked toes. And then what you'll do is slide your foot up the wall. Now, keep your hips in a neutral position. So this is not ballet class. Resist the urge to externally rotate in your hips. Keep a neutral femur on that lifted leg. And you can use the wall to just find a bit more depth as you walk your foot up the wall. And we'll be playing around here for a little bit. So maybe as you are here a while, you bring your standing leg foot closer to the wall, walk the opposite foot up, and find your breath and just release any expectation of how this should look. I've actually never done this against a mirror, so I don't know how this looks. Maybe kind of weird, but just feel into your own body. Your standing split does not have to look like anyone else's. And breathe so you get a really juicy stretch in the hamstring of your standing leg and the hip flexor of the leg that's up the wall. Whew. And when you're ready to come out of this, simply walk the hands forward and slide your leg down the wall. And let's come to a squat malasana in between sides. So toes facing out, lower down to a squat. Breathing way down into the hips. And we'll change sides. So hands on blocks or hands on the ground, your opposite leg starts to crawl up the wall. And you might see a big discrepancy in your flexibility from one side to the other. Being asymmetrical means being a human being. So welcome to the club. Whew. Okay, so breathing into what's here. Now, standing split, it can be a really challenging shape for a lot of people, and I love using the wall here because you can use that leverage to climb the foot that's on the wall up in a way that's kind of hard to do just in the middle of the room. So playing around here a little longer, remember neutral hips. It's not about how high the leg is. It's about keeping the neutral hips. That's going to be really useful when we come into our front split. Nice. So making your way out of that back to your malasana yogi squat. Whew. Okay, and then we'll move toward giving this thing a try. Now there's a few prep positions I find really useful before diving into splits. Pyramid pose is one of my all-time faves. So let's come into a pyramid pose. Again, doesn't matter which foot is forward, but bring the feet hips width distance for this. So you want to feel that both hip points are facing the front of your mat. Both legs are straight and your back foot's at a 45-degree angle, like a short warrior one. Good. So hands to the hips, feeling the hips are square, not rotating out, okay? It all starts with the placement of the hips. Tall spine, big inhale. Exhale, hinge forward and fold. Keep stretching your heart forward. Maybe the hands come to the blocks, or perhaps they're just framing your front foot without the blocks. Feel a slight sensation of your left hip, or whichever hip is forward, tugging back, and then the opposite one pulling forward. So we're squaring the hips in the pyramid pose. One more breath. And then soften your front knee, lower your back knee for low lunge. And we'll make our way to half split. Now, I love to use the wall as I work into my splits as well. So just like with the standing split on the wall, I like to tuck my back toes so my foot is pressing against the wall behind me. And then from here, I'm gonna begin to extend my front leg. Again, feeling the sensation of square hips, just like pyramid pose, not rotating out in that back leg. Finding a tall spine, and you'll just start to slide the heel forward. Stop where it feels like enough. So often in tutorials, we want to just nail the thing, you know? Trust me, I've watched a lot of handstand videos and I'm like, why can't I do it? But these are the satisfying struggles of our yoga practice, right? This is where we cultivate patience. So we've got a bit more time here to play. Maybe you've reached your edge, or maybe you're able to go a bit further. Another thing you can always do is work with a block under your front leg. And if you're working prop free, you're feeling okay to come into your full Hanumanasana split, you'll push away from the wall to lower your pelvis down to the mat. And then try to find a tall spine. Yeah. Just one more breath here. And then to come out, we plant the hands on the ground or blocks and slowly reverse. Any counter pose you like that helps you just release any tension you may have gripped onto in that endeavor. Let's come to a down dog. Walk the feet to the hands. Bring the hands to the waist, come up on an inhale. Exhale, mountain pose. Second side. So now you're just gonna step the opposite leg back that you just worked. Pyramid pose. Hands on hips, just so you know where the hips are, yeah? Things like hands on body, using a wall, using a prop, these help us to really get a sense of our body in space and our alignment. So tall spine here, big inhale. Exhale, hinge and fold, stretching the heart forward to fold over your front leg. Parsvattanasana, pyramid pose. So using this shape to prep the hamstrings and also remind yourself of the ideal alignment that you want. Hip points facing the front of your space. Softly bend both knees, coming into your low lunge, and then making your way back to your half split. If that was useful to you to press against the wall, you'll want to just back it up a little bit. And then begin to slide your front heel forward, keeping a straight spine and a hip hinge. So beware of stooping and rounding, right? Always space. Always, always maximum space. And now one side is going to feel tighter than the other. That's to be expected. But work slowly. Use props if you need. Release the expectation of getting there fast, of one side looking like the other side. Do that little check over the shoulder with the leg behind you. Just make sure your back leg is actually neutral. Sometimes we lose the read on what's going on back there. So we got a couple more breaths. Whew. Splits are work, let me tell you. Can build a lot of heat. Maybe you come a bit deeper, but you do not have to. This is my tighter side. This is where we stop on this side. And then coming out of it, slowly, mindfully, dragging your front foot back. Take a few cats and cows to let that go. Child's pose. And when you're ready, find your way to a seat. And that's it. You are on your way to deeper, stronger, more flexible front splits. Thank you so much for joining me for this class. I hope it was useful. Please let me know how it went for you in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And happy practicing. I'll see you soon. Namaste.